What's up, guys? Welcome to Daily Dose of Reddit. This is your host, Zach, and today's subreddit is r/TalesOfNeckbeards. This story is called K the Remaster, K in the Bookstore. So, hi again. Been a bit, I know, I got sidetracked with work and everything, but now I'm back, again, to tell you all once more about our favorite classic neckbeardo, also bookstores. That's right, it's this one. Once again, like the overviews, it's been many years, and some deletions, so I may not get every single thing right. Super sorry about that. I'll also do my best to add in anything I remember to try and make this more interesting and less of a copy of the other thing. This all happened a while back. I don't remember exact dates, but I do remember it was back when I had just gotten my truck. So, a while. Precise, I know. Whenever Kay would need to go to the GameStop or bookstore or anything like that, I was usually the one who had to take him there. See, Kay, I'll just call him Kevin. Kevin did have a license, yes, but he didn't have a car. That's not that odd, right? We're still kinda younger guys in a pretty crappy area, so saving up for something like that is a major, time-consuming thing. Well, not exactly. Or not exactly for him, rather. Kevin comes from money. Big money. He's legit the only person I've ever met with a literal trust fund. I don't know the exact numbers, but let's just say that if he chooses not to work for the better part of a decade, he'll be just fine. Now, I know what you're thinking, but Moonhorse, what if he can't spend that trust on a car or something? That's a totally valid point. Honestly, and for all I know, that could be true. The reason I think it's odd he had no car was because he was literally offered two for free. He turned them down because he has this really hard fixation on owning an El Camino. I don't really know the reason why, but yeah. But this isn't about that. This is about a trip to the bookstore. Maybe I'll tell you the tale of Kevin and the cars another day, if you ask nicely. On this fateful day, I was called by Kevin, roughly 8 times in a row, that's how he does, to go to the bookstore. He totally needed to go. Now, the bookstore in question is a Books-A-Million in the mall. The mall is 3 towns away. Remember when I said we live in the middle of freaking nowhere? Yeah, it's about a 30-minute drive, so it's not something you do just on a whim most of the time. Kevin was adamant, however. He absolutely needed to be there. He had promised friends that he'd be there. He had so many reasons and excuses for me to take him there. I had been awake roughly an hour, so I'm not exactly ready for such things, but I'm also not awake enough to deal with this level of BS, so I relent and tell him to give me time to get things together so I can go. Getting things together also involves preparing myself to be stuck in a car with him. Like I said in the overview, Kevin isn't a stinky neckbeard. That wasn't the issue. The issue is that this is about to be a 30-minute car ride with the incel board condensed into one human being. The entire trip I was enlightened to his views on women and how they're just driven by their biological need to only reproduce with alpha males, and how women can't be in charge of things because their inability to properly process their emotions. I once watched this man get so angry at a joke sung by Stephen Lynch about D&D that he screamed at the radio like he personally insulted him, but I digress. All of those classic neckbeard incel hits are there. Women don't give good guys a chance. Females only chase chads. I try to tell her how nice and kind I am, but she just blocked me. My waifu in this fanfic I wrote loves me, unlike these real benches, and so many more. By the time we finally get to the mall, I'm fairly certain my brain has started to melt. Aside from those wonderful hits, I also got to hear about how feminism is totally the root cause of all the world's problems. You guys, for real, I'm done. I can't even argue how that doesn't even make any kind of logical sense at this point, so I just let him talk. Once we park, Kevin is practically ready to just bolt to the bookstore. I can't figure out why, but he says something about being late, grabbing his rather large book bag and taking off. At this point, he's roughly into his first year of college, if memory serves correct. No promises. I just assume that he's late for some kind of study group or project meeting, and they chose to work here as an in-between meeting spot. Makes sense to me, so I make it there at my own pace. Not like I have to help them or anything. Once inside, I realized that it's not a meeting of classmates. Or maybe it was. It wasn't a class function, however. It was 2 of his friends who I'd only heard about. One guy was tall. I mean, really tall. He also had this insane neckbeard, like a weird piece of face armor, and the long hair, but it was long and stringy. Remember Rob Zombie's character in The Devil's Rejects? that, but his hair was really dark brown. The other guy was like his opposite, squat, round, and paired his buzz cut with a scraggly beard and glasses. And yes, they had the hats. The Fed aura was strong with these two. Kevin introduced me after ignoring me for a bit. I wasn't cool enough for the crowd, I gather. They were here to sit in the in-store coffee shop and play Magic the Gathering. Not gonna lie, I don't know crap about this game. Never got into it. Never really started hearing things about it until I started reading neckbeard stories, honestly. So seeing as I'm just a filthy casual, I decided to just sit this one out. I grab a book and sit myself in one of the armchairs that are in this coffee shop, bookstore, add-on thing. I don't know what you call them. I wasn't so much reading as watching these guys interact. Even before I knew what I know now about the beardery, I was still fascinated, and while I don't know anything about Magic the Gathering, watching people play it really, well, is kinda interesting. Like watching pro football or something, you know? It was during this that I started to notice something off with their game. Every now and then, they'd stop playing all to look at the door whenever someone came in. They'd then turn back to each other, say something I wasn't close enough to overhear, and then resume their game. I just assumed that there was supposed to be a fourth beard to this gathering. Maybe he was running late or something. Either way, I didn't think anything of it, for now. This actually continued for a while, and I'm kinda starting to get really bored of loitering in a bookstore. I set my borrowed book on the table and kinda meander around for a bit. You see, this was the point where things started to click with me. I started noticing all their sales, all for university course books and supplies of all different kinds. And a lot of the people coming and going here were college-aged. Most were women. Oh, frick, he brought me here so we could ogle college girls. Now I'm angry. I'm not awake enough or ready enough to deal with this level of neckbeard crap. I returned to my book, seething and staring daggers at the back of Kevin's head because I really don't feel like making a scene here. In this moment of rage, however, something happens. A young lady comes into the store. A young milady, if you will. Oh, and Kevin certainly will. He locks on her hardcore, watching her as she comes in, talks to someone at the counter, and then starts back to where all the course books are. Kevin and the wizards of Beardlandia, as I have taken to calling them lately, are quickly talking and looking back and forth, and then he does it. Kevin stands, prepares himself, then starts to follow his targeted milady. I'm not gonna miss this crap show, so I follow after him. I need to know what pearls of romance and wisdom he plans on dropping on this unsuspecting woman. First, a slight side note. See, at this time, the bookstore had rearranged a lot of the shelves. As a result of this, the end of the college books, cliff notes and whatnot, ended up sharing an aisle with the beginning of the comics and manga section. Knowing that, you can maybe catch a hint of where this is going. I spy Kevin in that aisle, along with his milady. He's not near her. Not yet. Still mentally preparing, I guess. Those of you who know me from my channel and other places know that I have a certain love of horrible and hilariously insane things. This sometimes means that, when I knew something painfully embarrassing is gonna happen, I sometimes have to fight the urge to just let it happen. This day, the urge won. I didn't see this conversation take place. Not entirely, but I heard it. I'm hiding on the other side of the aisle, looking like I'm studying the crap out of this pop display. From the other side, I hear our brave Sir Kevin of the Beardington make his smooth move.
It's really cool to see a smart girl who also likes comics and manga. I can suggest a few titles that you'd really enjoy if you want me to. I'm sorry, what? How is there marking on your sense of knowledge and enjoying the finer parts of Japanese artwork?
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm just getting some books for class.
Well, I thought you were here to get some manga. My apologies, milady. Perhaps I can teach you some of the better ones, enlighten you, and show you some truly classical pieces.
I'm okay. Thanks.
It really is no trouble, milady. Maybe we can discuss this more over coffee or dinner. I know many of the best fine dining locations in the city, after all.
No, thank you. I'm not really looking to go out with anyone at the moment.
I see. Well, okay.
Now, again, I can't see him yet, but I've decided that studying this Spider-Man pop has reached its end, and I start to go to the next aisle. You know, to do the whole, Aw, cheer up, buddy. And plenty of fish in the sea stuff. Help him get over this crushing defeat. As I'm turning, I hear this wonderful exchange start.
Figures that you'd only chase after alpha males when all I was trying to do was be nice to you.
Dude, stop. I don't want to date you.
Because you're just some thought who only chases jock rooster.
Moonhorse.exe has stopped working.
What did you just call me?
Don't get mad at me because I'm right. You girls never give nice guys like me a chance. You're just too busy being a whore for some alpha rooster.
Anyone else hear those screaming alarms? Me too. Time to pull the boy out of there by his hair. I'm almost around the corner when I hear it. Something that sounds a bit like a whip cracking. Oh boy. I round the corner and I'm face to face with a very red-faced and frustrated woman.
Excuse me.
She says really shortly with some pretty obvious holding back the rage tone. I just step aside and she storms past. I then see Kevin for the first time. He looks shocked, teary-eyed, and there's a rather large and very red handprint on his face. I ask him what happened. He says nothing and just storms back to the table of the Wizards of Beardlandia. They too ask what happened. He mutters something about all women being whores or something, and with a great sulk, goes back to his game. They played for a while more, then it was time to go. I got to hear his version of the story, all the way home. How he was a perfect gentleman and was only nice to her, and she just hauls off and slaps him for no reason whatsoever. He never said a single thing wrong and never did anything to offend her. However, that
devil feminism
must have gotten all up in her brain, making her think all men are just the worst and that's why guys can't get dates.
It's always something like that, Moonhorse.
Uh-huh.
That's why true gentlemen and well-educated men have to stick together. Protect our rights as men. These freaking feminazis are just ruining everything.
Total shame, that.
That's why we're still virgins. Women just won't give us nice guys a chance.
Moonhorse has experienced an IO error. Abort? Retry? Fail? What?
Yeah, it's all their fault. I mean, we're just nice guys, but women only want bad boys, and that's why we're never gonna get laid unless they learn their place.
I'm not a virgin, though.
What?
Yeah, not for like 4 years?
Why didn't you say anything?
I didn't think I needed to. Do people usually talk about this kind of stuff all the time?
When you're talking with groups of men, you do. You don't keep secrets like that.
Oh, I didn't know that. I think that made him mad because he didn't talk much for the rest of the ride home, and he didn't talk to me for a few days. I had no idea that it was supposed to be some kind of bonding ritual between men, but then again, I don't know much about the heterosexual bonding rituals of the Nicus Beardalus and their cousins Incelius Ragedictus. After all, I'm just a unicorn. I hope you all enjoyed this story. I did my best to retell it to the best of my abilities. I probably screwed a lot of it up. Sorry about that. Either way, I hope you have an awesome whatever time it is. Much love, Moonhorse. Well, Moonhorse, you are an excellent writer. Okay, I enjoyed your story of Kay and his neckbeard group. That's just so bizarre, man. This story's called, What Do You Mean You're Gay? This one is from 4 or so years ago. I was a senior in high school, and the dude in question was an irritating little freshy arsehole. Not a full-fledged neckbeard, but well on his way. Before I get into this, I want to mention a few things. First, I am a lesbian. Never went through a questioning phase, never liked men. Second, I have trichotillomania. While I now shave my head to deal with it, I wore a very high-quality wig in high school to hide my bald patches. So, my high school orchestra. I was a crappy third violinist in the back. My stand partner senior year was the future neckbeard. He was very loud about games and anime. Not that I'm judging, I like both in moderation as well, but in the worst way possible. Always boasting, always talking over the teacher, just everything. You know the type. On the first day of orchestra, I knew it was gonna be a long year. Still, I try to be understanding of all people. I mean, maybe he had autism. Maybe he had been homeschooled prior to high school and didn't realize his behavior was inappropriate. I didn't know his life story, so I was polite to him. This ended up being a bad decision. He became more and more flirtatious towards me, but I just ignored it. One day during rehearsal, he mentioned something about us being stand partners. It was too long ago to remember what. The conversation went as follows. Yeah, last year my stand partner was my ex, so this is better. It was really awkward.
Who is your partner?
She's at the first stand this year. This was apparently mind-blowing to him. He had a visible reaction.
Wait, she?
Yeah, I'm gay.
No, you're not.
Not sure what to say to that. Yeah, I am. I like girls. Cue the most fist-mouthed stare I've ever seen.
Okay, is there anything else I should know about you?
At this point, I dealt with a few months of him being a butthole to almost everyone around him, calling people stupid, saying he was better than others, yelling about anime, etc. I decided to screw with him a little bit. Yeah, I wear a wig.
Oh, I highly doubt that.
Smug little look on his face. I then lifted up the front of my lace. Never seen someone's face fall so quickly. All his hopes of having a hot senior girlfriend dissipated. If I didn't dislike him so much, I would have almost felt bad. Wonder how he's doing these days. Hope to never find out. People like him are very good arguments for why we definitely need bullies in our society. I'm kidding, bullies are bad. Bullies are bad. Unless you want to bully him, then go right ahead. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode.